Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Healthy Living Scottsdale podcast. I'm your host today, Coach Brandy, and I'm here with Coach Jolie and Coach Adam. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Going good.
Good. Just wrapping up a morning of
Great
training.
Morning. Day 2 of strength. Everyone's loving it.
Yes, I know. It's everyone's favorite phase. I feel like everyone is so pumped when we start our strength phase.
Everyone comes out of the woodwork. It's like,
I know.
You go here?
I know. I haven't seen you in a while. We got to keep people like this engaged and excited through our other phases because they're all so important.
Yeah.
But I think being in the strength phase is kind of a good segue for what we're talking about today, which is using kettlebells and kettlebell training and the importance of using kettlebells, why we use kettlebells. But before we get to that, we have a client of the week that we want to give a shout out to. So who's taking this one today?
I'll take it. So Steve Kirkendall, client of the week. He is awesome. So great success story. Honestly, he was very sick over the past few years, and so came in looking to regain a lot of the strength that he's lost and just overall get himself into a better place. So I want to say he started maybe 3-ish months ago, something like that, 3 to 4 range. And this is like a situation where this guy would take his time like getting up and down off of the ground kind of thing. So we'd always have to have some support nearby and stuff like that. And he's just made like great progression. He follows like our programming super well. He's really into it. He works hard at his own pace. Like he's not swayed one way or another by other people's speed or whatever they're doing. He's just locked into his own successes. And so now he's popping off like up and down off of the ground. He was deadlifting like 70 pounds yesterday, which is just
That's
wild.
Awesome.
So he's great, and he's been super consistent. He's in here like 4 days a week. So he's an awesome client.
And the people he works out with are like witnessing his strength and everything too. And they're like, you're lifting heavier, you're getting stronger. And so
that is awesome.
Yeah. It's cool to see.
It's so much fun to see as a coach, like to see someone progress like that. And then for others around you that you're training with to notice.
Yeah, they encourage him, and he totally loves it. He's got a nickname, S-Money.
I love that.
No idea why, but everybody calls him that. So
everyone that he trains with.
Everybody trains with.
I love it.
So he's like the glue of like that group. It's pretty funny. Don't know how it even happened, but it kind of just did.
Way to go, Steve S. Money.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, you guys, are you ready to dive in? Let's talk about kettlebell training. So in our training program at Legacy, we use a variety of different modalities. We use kettlebells, dumbbells, cables, all sorts of things throughout our training. And so we wanted to highlight kettlebells today and how they can be effective, why we use them, what's, great about using kettlebells for training. So Adam, do you want to start with, why do we use kettlebells? What's the importance of using kettlebells as a modality?
Yeah, so I think it's, it offers some variability. Typically, a dumbbell is used for a lot of kind of base exercises or things like that. Once you move past your, like a body weight kind of exercise, you move into dumbbells. And there's kind of this second layer, I think, to whatever you use for a dumbbell. If you use a kettlebell for it, it's adding this layer of like instability and a couple of, I guess, like you're having to make these micro adjustments with your core, like fascia's working differently, because it's just creating this whole different kind of imbalance that, once we see sometimes a person start to have success with dumbbells, we'll sometimes transition them into that. And it just kind of offers another layer of the exercise without progressing it super a lot.
Yeah, and the reason that it does those things is because the center of gravity, right?
Yeah.
On the kettlebell compared to a dumbbell.
Distributed a lot differently, yeah. And then I think a lot of people, like as they start to progress to like heavier weights and things like that, especially now in the strength phase, a lot of times people will talk about grip strength, and it can be a limiting factor to, physiologically, maybe whatever muscle group we're trying to target, they can do a certain weight. But a lot of times that grip becomes an issue for them. So kettlebells offer like usually a slightly thicker handle. And again, that distribution feels a lot different in the hand. So sometimes just plugging that in instead of a dumbbell for a certain exercise where you're just holding long duration or something like that, it can improve that as well. So I think that helps people everyday life too, like the hands, like overusage and stuff. So it builds that a lot.
Great.
Yeah.
Jolie, what do you have to add about kettlebells? We talked about like the functionality of them, kind of center of gravity. What else can be important, or should people think about when we're encouraging people to try using kettlebells?
Yeah, I think something that people look at when they see a kettlebell is they think like super dynamic movements, right? They think of like a kettlebell swing and they think, oh, I could never do that. That's something that's way beyond my fitness level, or something that I'll just never be able to do, right? But there are actually so many movement patterns that can be broken down. Like Adam was saying, just about progressing from dumbbells and changing the center of gravity, working your core more. So I think one of my favorites to do is like a single leg Romanian deadlift or a single leg RDL, where we're using our weight a little bit differently. We're working on our grip strength, really building up to being able to use a barbell for that. So just being able to progress in a smarter way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it can be really useful for improving functional strength. The way the kettlebell is designed, it's sort of designed to mimic kind of real life activities, whether you're picking up groceries or you're picking up a child or, whatever it is. That's kind of what a kettlebell was designed for, to mimic those real life activities. So you're improving your functional strength by using a kettlebell. The way the center of gravity is designed on a kettlebell, it encourages you to really, like, you have to use your core. You have to use your muscles, those stabilizer muscles, in different ways when you're using a kettlebell as opposed to using a dumbbell. And I think it's also really important, we use dumbbells too and cables, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. And I think using a variety of different modalities can be really important, and it can help break through different plateaus. And kettlebells, while a kettlebell swing can be kind of an intimidating movement, those dynamic movements that you can do with a kettlebell that you might not be able to do so easily with a dumbbell are really important as people progress through their training life cycle. They can do more advanced movements, dynamic movements with a kettlebell that you can't necessarily do with anything else. So it can be really important as you progress through your training to use kettlebells as well.
I think that the word that stuck out to me when you were just talking was like stabilizers. And that makes me think of joints right away. And a lot of people come in with joint pain wherever, hip, knee, ankle, shoulder, a lot of shoulders. So I think the stabilizing factor is super important. Like I can go and grab, a 40-pound dumbbell and easily do like a one-arm overhead press or something like that. But if you go and you grab like a 25-pound kettlebell, flip it upside down and go to do that press, that's going to feel like a lot more work, a lot more recruitment at your joint. So I had a client today that was asking, he was like, his shoulder was bugging him. And I was explaining to him like how maybe we need to work like the stabilizing muscles more so, because he's a strong guy. He can do most of the overhead pressing and the pulling and stuff like that. But there's like little gaps in training that sometimes like a tool like this can address a lot easier than others.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, I think about doing a dumbbell overhead press compared to like a bottoms up kettlebell. That is a totally different exercise. Yeah. So much harder with a kettlebell.
Yeah.
One other thing that I love about using kettlebells too, I feel like you can do a whole body workout that includes like strength and cardio and power and like everything using a kettlebell.
Yeah.
Because you can do those strength type of movements. You can do kettlebell swings, getting some cardio in, more the dynamic movements. So I think it can be a great modality for, like, if you just have one piece of equipment in like a garage gym or something, like a kettlebell is a great option for you because you can do so many different things with them.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else we want to talk about in terms of kettlebells and why they're important?
I would just say don't be afraid of them. They're like they can look kind of intimidating, but if you either talk to a trainer or somebody that's familiar with it. They can explain to you like the benefits like we have today. I mean, side note, they are kettlebells, not kettleballs.
Yeah.
Not that bothers me or anything. But I think just, don't fear them. Always try to introduce yourself to, new training modalities, and it's only going to help your, like the muscle stimuli. So yeah, don't fear them and use them wisely, I guess.
Yeah. Embrace the kettlebell. And it'll improve your athleticism and your strength and power and all of that. So, all right. That's all we have for you today. Tune in next time for more great stuff.
Thank you so much for listening to the Healthy Living Scottsdale podcast. Do you have a question that you'd like for us to answer live on the podcast? If so, all you need to do is head over to the Apple Podcast app on your iPhone and do 3 simple things. First, leave us a rating and review telling me what you think of the podcast. In that review, ask anything you want related to health, fitness, or nutrition. And if you want a shout out, leave us your Instagram handle or name. That's all you have to do. Then listen to hear your questions answered live on the next Q&A episode.